You need to come back.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there.
Welcome back to the new video. Post race now. On the Tuesday, didn't feel like doing much yesterday, so I was really sore. Just coming around a little bit today. Can actually get up off the loo. Yeah, first session back. Nice easy recovery swim. Had yesterday totally off, so we're just gonna go and hit the pool. I didn't have anything scheduled today, but had some free time in the morning, so just for recovery wise for the legs, I thought I'd just go and get something done. Easy swim, focus on some drills. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to show you kind of our swim facilities here in Oz. Pretty much all the 50-meter pools are like this, so I think it's only like £2.50 for entry, so it's absolutely mad. Probably going to do a little race recap in a little while. Just trying to compare the data and things like that from the last marathon. So yeah, should have some in-depth analysis for you by the end of the vid. Okay, so back at the apartment after the swim. Now we can dive into the stats. I'll give a quick overview and then we can kind of dive a little bit deeper into where the numbers were. So, second ever standalone half marathon. Came in about 7 seconds over the 80 minutes.
For any coaches out there, that's what you tell people when you're in that, racing for
Strava gave it to me in the 1:19:40 seconds, so 20 seconds below it.
Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate.
But there you go, is what it is. I didn't think I had another 7 seconds in me, so take of that what you will. But the race itself went really well. Did have a little bit of stitch in the warm-up, which wasn't ideal. I was thinking, oh no, here we go again. Stomach issues, but thankfully went away when I started the run. So as I talked about in the previous video, the plan was to negative split, which I'm not great at. I'm sure a lot of people aren't, and that went to show in the half marathon as well. A lot of people did go out too fast, and I did start to capture a lot of people in those last kilometers. So make of that what you will. The first 5k, the plan was to go out at a 4-minute kilometer pace, knowing that I had a couple of hills in that first 6 kilometers. I wanted to not kind of burn any massive matches quite early on, so I did go a little bit faster on the flats just to give me that leeway on the hills that I could kind of slow down if I needed to. If I did feel a little bit like I was going over that threshold, then I did have those seconds in the bank to taper it back. But I think I came overall around 3:55, 3:56, so ahead of schedule. Really felt really easy at this point in time. Didn't really see any effect from the hills, which was good. Maybe it's because they came quite early. If they came a bit later into the half, then I think it'd be a bit more difficult. But after the 6k mark, it did flatten off, and it was pretty much, apart from a few bridges, was pretty flat. The first K though, you know what it's like, everyone's kind of dick swinging and getting out really hard and fast, and really had to rein it in a little bit here. Really did go off the watch in that first K because it can feel a lot faster. So that's a top tip, especially in the first K, making sure you rein it in because the pace is quite high from the off and everyone's gunning for those positions and probably a little bit of ego as well. And then the plan after the 5 to 6K mark was to up the pace bit by bit, so pretty much like a build run. I've done quite a few in training, so I know what this felt like. So drop down to around the 350 per kilometre pace. I don't know what that is in miles. Between the 5th K and the 15th K, that was the plan. But yeah, I did drop down to the 350 at the 5K up until around, I'd say, the 12K. Still felt really easy at this point, and you could kind of tell by that point who had gone out too hard. I noticed that I was kind of in not a massive group, maybe like 4 or 5 of us, but I'd say at least half of those, so maybe 3 of those were quite gassed in terms of breathing. And I noticed, kind of comparing my breathing to theirs, I was much more controlled, wasn't really out of breath, where those were breathing quite hard. So I knew at some point that I'd probably pick up the pace and they'd kind of go the opposite way, and maybe they planned a positive split. So as I say, around the 12K mark, kind of going into a headwind for a K and then back in through the tailwind for a K. Kind of stayed behind one other person. They just kind of paced me through that around 345, 350. So slowly creeping up at this point. Kind of got to the end of the headwind and I kind of came round and finished the rest of that. So probably about 500 meters until the turnaround, and then once we turned around, I kind of dropped the hammer a little bit, and maybe a little bit too early, who knows. Probably got down to around 340, 345 pace at this point, and carried that through until the 16K mark, where we kind of agreed, me and my coach, to kind of really give it our all in that last 5K. So I was kind of biding my time and waiting for that last 5K. The main thing that I'm really pleased about is that last 5K that I closed out in around 18:03. So having a PB of like 17:50 in the 5K, closing a half marathon out in that time is, I think, a credit to the plan and strategy. I think it was hard mentally at times because I didn't know how I'd feel in the last 5K. But at this point, I was really feeling it in the legs more so than aerobically, as I hadn't really done that pace for that amount of time in quite a while. I think even my last 70.3 was about 6 months ago, so it's not nice being reminded of that pain that you get, but it leads me into kind of a good mindset of that race in a month's time of, I can deal with that pain and I can run through it at a faster pace, so that's always reassuring. The last thing I wanted to do is give a quick review on the race shoes. So I did have a little review on them in the last video, but I didn't race in them since. So I think they're quite hyped up online, and obviously we talked about the big project they had and kind of the marketing they've done in terms of it's like putting on a super shoe again for the first time. I probably wouldn't agree with that, but I did feel good in them. Whether it's best for me, as I said, we'll only know through testing. It is just another super shoe that's really good. Probably on a level of the Nike Alpha Flies and Vapor Flies as well. But yeah, overall, they got me through it. I felt good. They did have a really good amount of snap in them, so yeah. So the next one's the big one, the 70.3 in 6 weeks' time. A week to recover, and then just going into kind of 4 weeks of hard training, probably about 15 to 20 hours a week to kind of really build that fitness back up from this taper and recovery. So if you did like this breakdown, we're kind of diving into the stats and kind of feelings on the day. Hopefully there's more to come. As I say, a few races coming up, so I'll probably do the same. with those races. But if you did like the video, give it a like and subscribe if you can.